define an unaccompanied child? Well, there is no one way to describe an unaccompanied child other than to say they came to the U.S. border without their biological parent. Unaccompanied children are as different and as varied as U.S. children are.
They are children. They are funny and brilliant and quirky and curious and smart and wanting to learn.
My face just lights up because they are some of the most amazing young people that I know.
Some way they find the courage and they get on this journey and they're just looking for their chance in life. They're just looking for that opportunity to live with dignity, the way that we're all supposed to live.
People in immigration removal proceedings, including unaccompanied children, are not appointed counsel. Without the right to appointed counsel, many children face this process without attorneys. In fact, data from the Executive Office for Immigration Review shows that through November 2020, just over half of the children with a pending immigration case were not represented by counsel.
This creates a really difficult situation for children. If you can imagine trying to not only defend yourself in a very complex area of law, but also recognizing the stakes here are possibly life and death.
A pro bono attorney's support has the power to make a huge difference in the outcome of a child's case. Children who are represented by an attorney are more likely to know if they qualify for asylum or other forms of relief. They're more likely to file applications and appear in court, and they're almost 5 times more likely to win. But regardless of the outcome of a child's case, the presence of an advocate standing by the child's side throughout their legal case and this challenging time in their life is invaluable for the child's well-being.
Being a legal service provider or a pro bono attorney who assists a child, especially an unaccompanied child, through the immigration process is a huge honor and really one of the best ways I can imagine to use our legal training and skills to make a difference.
I had a good career at Marathon. Pro bono enriched that career. I discovered I am something special. I am a lawyer. I can help these kids who so desperately need help. I can literally save their lives. And I discovered, too late in my career, that only lawyers can do it. There is no one else.
Having an attorney during removal proceedings can change a child's life. As attorneys, we can get beyond the standard answer and hear a child's story.
Our work is much more than legal. We have to be compassionate, sensible, humane, and it's really gratifying. It's really gratifying. These kids, I have learned a lot from these kids.
Each year, thousands of children arrive in the United States to seek protection and opportunity without a parent or legal guardian by their side, or after becoming separated from a parent at the border by government officials. For these children, arriving in the United States is just the beginning of an immigration legal process in which they will have to demonstrate to an immigration judge that they are eligible for relief in order to avoid deportation to their home countries.
At their very young age, these children have gone through very difficult and traumatic events. Escaping their home countries, unaccompanied minors risk their lives enduring extremely dangerous circumstances during their trip to the United States. However, their hopes and dreams of a new and better life make them strong and resilient.
The U.S. government defines an unaccompanied child as someone who is under the age of 18, who does not have legal status in the United States, and who does not have a parent or legal guardian available to assume their care and custody at the time they are detained. These children may range in age from infants to age 17. Unaccompanied children come to the United States from countries around the world. The majority of the children are originally from the Northern Triangle countries of Central America, including Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, or from Mexico. The reasons why an unaccompanied child might migrate to the United States can be as varied as the children themselves, and often there are overlapping factors that led to this moment.
Many of them fled their countries escaping criminal organized groups, physical, sexual, or psychological abuse, forced labor, or other forms of trafficking, and the inability of their countries to protect them.
For some children, they may also seek the promise of education, supportive adults, and a future with dignity.
After a child is apprehended by a Customs and Border Protection agent, they will be processed at the border. The CBP agent will take the child to a holding facility where the officer will record the child's biographic information and ask the child questions. That information is used to create a charging document or a notice to appear. The notice to appear is sent to an ICE officer who then files it with the immigration court, starting removal proceedings. The child should not spend more than 72 hours at that holding facility before they're transferred to a shelter run by the Office of Refugee Resettlement. And there are shelters all over the US.
At this point, unaccompanied children find themselves navigating two difficult circumstances: their detention in federal custody and their removal proceedings.
The Office of Refugee Resettlement is an agency within the Department of Health and Human Services. They have been charged with the care of unaccompanied children since 2003. According to the Flores Settlement Agreement, an unaccompanied child must be in the least restrictive setting. So ORR works to reunify a child with a sponsor, parent, family member, or close family friend, if at all possible.
Legal service providers like ProBar meet with detained children within days of their arrival in ORR custody to provide them with legal information about why they are at risk of deportation, how the immigration court process works, and what their rights are while their immigration proceeding is pending. Legal service providers also meet with children in order to provide them with private, trauma-informed, and child-friendly legal screenings to help better understand a child's circumstances and the forms of immigration relief for which they may qualify.
By the time a staff from a legal service provider makes a first contact with an unaccompanied child, that child can be overwhelmed and confused about their surroundings. It takes patience, compassion, and understanding to build trust with these children before they are ready to disclose the information we need to better help them with their cases.
Around the country, legal service providers use the information they gather from legal screenings with children who are detained to identify how they are able to support them through representation or connections to pro bono counsel.
A few very common areas of immigration relief that children are often eligible for can include things like asylum for those who fear persecution on account of a protected ground or a very specific reason in their home country. We also see a lot of children who qualify for something called special immigrant juvenile status. And this is a pathway to lawful permanent residence for children under 21, unmarried, who have been subjected to abandonment, abuse, or neglect by one or both parents. And this can have occurred in their home country. We also see children who qualify for other types of immigration relief. It might be something through a family petition, so a family member who has status who can petition for them or who has already. And then there's also many other forms of humanitarian relief.
If a child would like to remain in the United States, they can fight to do so via their immigration court proceedings. Children will need to often present applications before the Immigration Benefits Agency, which is USCIS, and they may need to appear for interviews before that agency, as well as continue to appear for court hearings before the immigration judge.
An unaccompanied child's reunification process can take days, weeks, months, or more, depending on many factors. However, most children eventually reunify with a sponsor and are released to live in communities around the country while their immigration cases are pending. After being released from detention, the child must continue to fight their immigration legal case and attend removal proceedings before the court. There's tremendous need for attorneys in communities around the country who will provide pro bono representation and support to unaccompanied children as they pursue their cases.
It's really difficult for a child to express themselves at court. Just imagine a 5-year-old kid, 10-year-old kid, 13-year-old kid trying to fight their case at court. It's not fair at all.
Whatever the child's circumstances, a pro bono attorney brings skills for legal analysis and advocacy that are invaluable to the child and their case.
So if for no other reason than just the fact that, kids deserve to have someone by their side, showing up with them in court, regardless of how much you know about immigration law, regardless of how long you've been an attorney, whether you're a brand new attorney, whether you're an extremely experienced attorney. No matter what you bring to the table, you're going to bring something helpful.
The pro bono representation of immigrants, mostly unaccompanied children, is an important part of my retirement. It is intellectually challenging and, of course, rewarding. Equally important for me as a retiree is the network of amazing people with whom I share this mission.
If you or someone you know is interested in serving as a pro bono attorney for an unaccompanied child at risk of deportation, the ABA's Commission on Immigration has several ways in which you can get involved. ProBar, or the South Texas Pro Bono Asylum Representation Project, is a project of the American Bar Association located in Harlingen, Texas, that empowers immigrants through high-quality legal education, representation, and connections to services. ProBar serves some of the highest numbers of detained unaccompanied children nationally. Pro bono attorneys who accept cases through ProBar and represent unaccompanied children detained or living locally in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas are paired with experienced attorneys on our staff who serve as resources and mentors throughout their case. ProBar also works with thousands of children each year whose cases will play out in communities around the country. ProBar refers these cases to legal service providers and experienced pro bono attorneys in other regions, which means there's also a really important need for attorneys to volunteer to represent unaccompanied children in their local area. CELA, or the Children's Immigration Law Academy, hosts a platform where attorneys can find pro bono opportunities to work with children on their immigration cases across the nation. And CELA also provides many resources to help support pro bono attorneys.
CELA's platform, Pro Bono Matters for Children Facing Deportation, is meant to connect interested volunteers with pro bono opportunities. Volunteers can simply scan the case cards that offer some basic information about cases, and then volunteers can fill out a form that expresses their interest. That goes directly to the posting organization. We have a dozen or so organizations that currently post opportunities on the platform, and they're located across the United States. The platform is really meant to create matches and maximize the number of children that have access to legal assistance with their cases.
CELA offers several resources on our website at cilacademy.org. We have several written resources, including a pro bono guide that covers how to represent a child and substantive legal relief. We also have recordings of all of our webinar trainings and some in-person trainings as well. If you're a pro bono attorney in Texas, you can also reach out to us for individualized technical assistance.
Working with children specifically, there's a lot of hope, there's a lot of joy. And yes, there are horrible things that we hear and there are horrible experiences that our clients might have gone through. But my very real hope is that with the support of an attorney, with the support of services in the community and a loving environment, we can help children really be set on a path for a very happy and safe future.